The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having a date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 9th, 2023. This meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag. Public, nation, God, indivisible,
Mr. Ackerman?
Here.
Mr. Blum? Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Here.
Mrs. Gardella?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. McElroy?
Here.
Mrs. Scott?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Mrs. Steffen? Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mrs. Weiler?
All right, committee reports. Heather's not here. We did have a curriculum committee meeting on January 19th. Those notes were sent out. We discussed AP dual enrollment and possibly trying to offer more. We discussed professional development days and what the administration has planned for the teachers, some new course requests by teachers to try to diversify our courses, a zero period in the future and how that could work, scheduling for next year, and ways that we are helping learning loss.
Just one comment on the, where were we on? Oh, the parent email request on AP dual enrollment. We had a presentation this morning from our guidance for the principals, and that number is significantly higher than we thought. I think we have up to 24 dual enrollment courses and 12 AP courses. So it's a 36 combo at this point. I don't have a list of them, but we'll forward that list over to everybody so you can see it.
Discussions or questions regarding curriculum or the notes that were sent out? Okay. Finance. Laura, we met twice.
So we did meet twice. You guys have received the notes from last time, going through, possible budgetary constraints. So those are there for you to review. What we talked about tonight was a contract with St. Luke's. We looked that over, and we are going to be going back and asking specific questions.
Else regarding finance? Okay, instructional council. We met on January 19th, I believe. Yeah, the same night as curriculum. We discussed again how the new things we put in place, like the athletic eligibility changes and the point system with discipline, and how all those items were working and what possibly needed to be changed for next year. We talked about scheduling again in terms of elective options and what we can do if we don't, if we're not going to, and it doesn't look like we're going to have a common schedule between the high school and the middle school at this juncture yet, but even if we don't, what could we do elective-wise and what options we have? We spent a lot of time talking about that. We also talked about the top 10 ranking, if you want to add.
We had an interesting situation this year with our top 10 students. We had a student who transferred in as a senior after September 1st. I think it was closer to the end of September, who by grade point average would actually qualify for the top 10. So we were discussing what to do. It's an extremely unusual situation that we had. In my 13 years, I don't think it's come up once. So the first time that we had it, what we decided to do for this year, and then we will review each case individually as they come up. We are technically going to have a top 11, so the student will be number 8, but the student who was number 8 will not be knocked down or knocked out, or number 10 won't be knocked out. So when we go to our top 10 dinner for the county, we will actually be bringing 11. We thought that was fair to everybody because the student who came in is a very good academic student as well. So we wanted to make sure that his accomplishments were recognized as well.
Questions for instructional counsel? All right, I just wanted to add something about, I know we didn't put it on committee reports, but the foundation ad hoc committee that we talked about last time, we did meet on January 23rd. We just basically sat there together and said, okay, where do we start? You know, knowing that this can't be board run. So we talked about how do we kind of take it kind of like we did with football, you know, get certain stakeholders in a room where, you know, we can facilitate the meeting, but from that point, it kind of has to evolve into something else from other committee and stakeholders. So I reached out to Kathy Hellewa from there. I asked her if she would like to come and speak to us on how we can kind of get this rolling. She praised us for, you know, it is a big undertaking and wanting to get that financial assistance and how it can only help, but she directed me to what we had talked about, the NJEFP, which is the New Jersey Education Foundation Partnership. They help foundations get started all over the state. I did reach out to them. I've been back and forth on email. They said that they can do a Zoom meeting with us when available. I threw out a bunch of dates. I know I didn't give you guys dates because I was seeing if they could actually do it. I had a date nailed down, and then they wanted to have it at 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, I can't do, and I think most of us have full-time jobs. So I said that we have our meetings at night, and they could be 5 o'clock or after. And I haven't heard back since the 21st of, not the 21st, the 2nd, February 2nd. So I'll reach out again to see if I can get something nailed down. It seems like everybody wants to do these things during the day. So it can only help, but if I do get that date nailed down, we need to kind of think about who we want in this room, you know, other than the ad hoc committee, what community people we can have in that room that can kind of help us out with this. And so I'm just saying publicly, you know, we are trying to create a foundation, and it won't be run by the board, but any little bit helps. So if any community members are listening and have ideas and would like to be a part of it, or any alumni, we'll obviously be talking about this again. Not sure what else to say there as far as the foundation goes. All right. We're going to go into exec for personnel. A motion to go to executive session for personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion made to go into executive session personnel. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene a public session at the conclusion of the closed session in approximately 15 minutes. All right, the New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and express times and submitted to the town clerk of the town of Belvidere on January 9th, 2023. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The mission of the Belvidere School District is to celebrate our past and empower our future while focusing on the 4 cornerstones of our district: tradition, excellence, academics, and community. We strive to build confidence and promote collaboration. We encourage an equal partnership with our students and staff as well as its community members. We empower everyone to develop the best versions of themselves. The Belvidere School District is committed to shaping students into global citizens who take initiative for their success and contribute to the continued excellence of the district. Our students are leaders in the decision-making process of their education and will be prepared to excel in a 21st century society. Roll call.
Mr. Ackerman? Mr. Blum? Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Here.
Gardella?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. McElroy?
Here.
Mrs. Scott?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Mrs. Steffen? Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mrs. Weiler?
Okay. Public participation.
We go. Good evening, Chris M. Coyle, Association President. I'd just like to take a moment to address item number 17 on the agenda tonight. Item number 17 is currently not covered under contract language. While I have reached out to Mr. Krub, and I do believe we have a tentative agreement on that, it would be best if we do have this in writing, so we're constantly following the word of the contract. We just need to get that in writing at this point, which I do believe is going to happen. Just wanted to make note of that. I look forward to getting that finished up and hopefully short order before the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Other public participation. Okay. Correspondence.
I have a couple things. First is a note from Mr. Barrick. Mrs. Scott, members of the B.O.E., Mr. Karuba, and Mrs. Trauma, please be advised that I submitted my application for retirement effective July 1, 2023. I would like to thank past and present B.O.E. members and administrators for their support and trust over the last 25 years. I have enjoyed my tenure as the Operations Chief, CEFM, of the Belvidere School District. I wish the district a smooth and successful transition regarding my replacement. Respectfully, James Barrick. And then I have the resignation letter from Jesse Singh. This letter is an official notice of my resignation as middle school English teacher at Oxford Street Middle School in Belvidere, New Jersey. I have greatly appreciated my time as an English teacher at our school, but extraordinary circumstances with my father, who recently had a stroke and is undergoing radiation, have led to this decision. I not only valued and appreciated the guidance and respect I received at our school by the community, parents, and students in Belvidere, but I also truly appreciated the professional skills I have attained by working with such dedicated and humble staff members in our building. Thank you for providing me with guidance and opportunities for professional success by allowing me to intern as a principal intern and even taking our students out on our famous trips to Uncle Buck's or Scoogies. I will always cherish the memories I have made at Belvidere, and I never really thought about our little town, that our little town would have such an important place in my heart like it does today when I first started back in August of 2019. I'm not only appreciative of the professional relationships that I have with colleagues in our school district, but I am grateful for the guidance I've received from our administration, including that from Mr. Karuba, Mrs. McKinney, Mr. Bartow, Aaron Tierney, and Mr. Carabinas. Before I leave, I plan to ease the transition by helping share any lessons plans, Google Drive folders, or notes that may be pertinent. I have the utmost respect for our team and hope to make my departure as easy as possible for everyone. Best, Jesse Singh.
Superintendent's
I have a few things to just mention tonight. I want to start out with a couple of pieces of what I think are very good news. The first thing is we received notification from the Department of Education early last week that Belvidere Elementary School, but it was Oxford Street School when we started the process, has now been taken off the comprehensive school list. So when we go back, probably about 5 years ago, Mr. Carabinas and I were trying to determine the exact date. We had gotten hit for a series of low test scores, and at that point, if you recall, and Mrs. Steffen's not here, but she would recall, we were ranked 3 out of 100, a 3 score out of 100. But we got news that, through our hard work of our students, staff, including the teachers, child study team, everybody who's a piece of that, we're off of that list and fully functioning. I know in one of the committee meetings we talked about, what is it like when the state takes over, and that's sort of what that was. But now we're off that list. So as of July 1st, so congratulations to the hard work of Belvidere Elementary. I think it's a really big piece. Second thing is, I think it was at the last regular meeting, I talked a little about CUSAC and our scores, and I had said that we still haven't gotten our scores specific to our where we would rank based on our test scores. While we technically still haven't gotten our scores, we did get notification from the Department of Education that we are eligible for what they're calling an adjustment, meaning, and Dr. McKinney and I are going to do a presentation on this on the 22nd, we are allowed to show student growth specific to ELA and math using our, for us, we're going to use the Lincoln benchmark assessments. If you recall, last year we were taking a good look at from Form A to Form B to Form C. And we saw some great student growth, but it didn't translate on the NJSLA test. We now have the ability to show that to the state, which will put us into passing for QSAC, which I think is the first time since I've been here we've passed QSAC. So really excited for that too. Another bit of good news is, and I understand this was quite the barn burner, but for our elementary school spelling bee, Ethan Hess was our champion this year. So congratulations to Ethan. Assuming he will be moving on to participate in the county spelling bee now. We always know that's where the competition gets really, really serious. Tomorrow morning, and you're all invited, and I should have sent this out earlier, but our National Junior Honor Society induction is at 10 o'clock here at the high school auditorium. It's always a nice event. Appreciate what Mrs. Kane does to keep that going. I think it's really important for our younger students to be involved in it. So looking forward to that. On the 22nd, along with the presentation that Dr. McKinney and I will do on the benchmark assessments, I will do a CSA goals update. We haven't done that in a couple of meetings. And I was thinking of that this afternoon, so I'll put something together for that. We are in the process, and I'm sure Mr. Bartow is happy, where winter sports are starting to wind down a bit. We have senior night for girls basketball tomorrow, boys basketball on Friday, and the swim team playoffs are already rolling. Tomorrow, girls are down in Newark, 2 p.m. That's the sectional, I assume, quarterfinals. So good for them. Congratulations. Our swim teams have been doing really well this year, I understand, so excellent job out of them. Just a couple of quick reminders. Our upcoming calendar, next Friday the 17th, we have early dismissal for our President's Weekend. The school is closed on the 20th for our staff and students. And for students, school is closed on the 21st. We will have a full day staff development on the 21st of February. So those are all previously approved days. Just want to remind everybody. We used our first snow day at the last meeting, which was probably more of a rain day at this point. We have 3 left to go. The date that's coming off is the March 25th, I think is the date. 4th. Sorry, 4th. I always get that wrong. So we'll be in school full session on March 24th. And hopefully we will not use any more snow days. Lastly, I just want to comment, number one, on Mrs. Singh leaving. Mrs. Singh was here for a short time, but she made a huge impact on our students. She was an outstanding educator. I think she's probably one of the better teachers I've seen in my career. I think she was outstanding. She's a huge loss for us, but absolutely wish her the best of luck in her new endeavors. And then, although he's not retiring until the end of the year, Jim Barrick, Jim is the heart and soul of Belvidere in so many ways. Jimmy's been here really since the 70s when he was here as a high school student, and even before that, because he certainly lived in Belvidere too. Jimmy will be greatly missed. I'm speaking from a personal point of view. There are a few people in the world you can count on, and Jimmy's one of them, to do anything for everyone. And although sometimes it doesn't come across that way, Jimmy truly cares about every student that's in this school and every staff member, and he will go out of his way for anyone to make sure that they're comfortable, whether it's in a classroom or outside, anything he can do. I wish Jimmy the best in his retirement. He's well-deserved, but he will be greatly missed here in the district. And that's my report.
Any questions on the superintendent's report? Moving to the regular agenda then. Policy. Motion to approve policy items numbers 1 through 9.
Motion.
Any discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? Moving to personnel. Right, motion to approve personnel items number 10 through 24A.
Second.
Discussion.
I will echo what Mr. Coyle said. We do pretty much have an agreement for number 17 written, or not written, agreed upon. Will be written tomorrow and hopefully signed off by the end of the day tomorrow.
Questions? Yes, roll call.
Mr. Ackerman? Dr. Zeppeth?
Yes.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mrs. Kennedy? Mr. McElroy?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Moving to education items. Motion to approve education items number 25 to 29, and there was an addendum on 29. Motion,
Motion.
questions? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions?
Andrew, you can join us at the table now. You're officially a member of the Board of Education. Congratulations. Before we move on, I just mentioned to Mrs. Scott that for those of you that get the NJ School Board's magazine, the monthly magazine, there's actually an article, front page article in the last issue about how to support your student representative to the Board of Education. So I'll do my best to get a copy of that, at least article, to everybody. Andrew, we're happy to have you as a member of the board. You're a non-voting member, but your opinion is valued and appreciated. So feel
Good
free
luck.
to jump in when you can.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Moving to business items. Motion to approve business items number 30 to 34.
Motion.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? All right, we moved through that quickly. Continuing business. I just wanted to mention sports. You know, we spent a lot of time with the sports ad hoc and how to, drive up numbers and drive up excitement at the games. And I have noticed, I haven't been able to go, but my kids have been to a lot of the basketball games recently. I'm also hearing from a lot of parents that have been to the games, and the numbers are good. The attendance is getting better. The numbers at wrestling games are getting better. I'm hearing. I'm happy to hear that. I heard basketball specifically did like a teacher night, which I thought was a great. I don't know if they always do that, but I thought it was a great thing. Instead of just senior night, which is extremely important in every sport, but they honored the seniors, got to pick a teacher that had an impact on them, and the teachers were invited, and I thought that was, I'm so, upset I missed that. I thought that was incredible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. So just something, positive that there's just seems to be some excitement in the gym lately, and I'm happy to hear that.
They got a sorry. They got a DJ for someone to announce and play music, which
I heard that too.
as a parent, you kind of notice the difference. The kids are getting
Yeah.
into it. They're feeling confident, and it's important. They need it.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids need it. So
And I think the way that wrestling was scheduled, with the feeder program happening right before the JV and varsity, it's like a full night. I think that's awesome. That's exactly what we're trying to do, bringing up. So, credit to you, Mr. Bartow, for your involvement there. I appreciate that. Any other continuing business?
I'd say good job to those teachers that stepped up to play the eighth grade team in basketball too. That was brave of them to not, get hurt by a student or anything and beat them at the buzzer, I hear.
Yes, I heard that. That's fantastic.
316?
At
Oh.
night, right? So we can all go? Is that nighttime?
Is he being thrown out for the next game? Oh, okay, good.
Also, under continuing business, I did mention at the 6:30 part of the meeting, but if somebody is watching and didn't see that, we are trying to create a foundation. We don't even have a meeting scheduled as far as getting all stakeholders in a room, but once I speak to the NJEFP on getting us a date, I don't know how we can. So I guess my question is this: say March 1st, the NJEFP comes back to me and says, you know what, we can have our Zoom meeting with the ad hoc committee and whoever was going to be in that room. How are we going to advertise to people from the alumni or from some of our, maybe council members or people that want to be a part of this? How are we going to do that?
That's a good question.
But we need some people in that
Yeah.
room other than us.
Okay.
So,
Facebook alumni. I mean, it's probably. I mean, I'm sure if we sat for 20 minutes, we could probably come up with about 10 different ways to do it. So maybe we'll put that on
something
our
to
list.
think about once I
Yep.
get that date. I am concerned
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
There's the town meeting at the end of the month too, that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Joe
Yeah.
Ross sent out the invite.
That was for volunteers.
Yeah, but that would be something to put up there for them too, that people are volunteering. Maybe that would be their thing.
And also, if anybody's watching or knows of somebody, they can always obviously email us too, to kind of be in the loop so I can contact them.
Would this be a good time to start possibly collecting alumni emails and start actually putting that out there, emailing them every month or so? Say this is what we're doing.
I think Melissa says she has a contact with the Alumni Association, so
like it.
maybe we can
Yeah.
go that route.
Yep.
Contact them.
I'll put it out there.
Anything else for continuing?
I just want to mention. I know. Mrs. Duckworth likes to ask a lot about regionalization, but maybe she was giving us a meeting off tonight. I was saying during finance, I had a conversation last night with an administrator in another district that I don't want to name the district publicly, but also submitted the grant by the June 30th date. And actually, it was a funny conversation. Clearly, we've gotten more responses than they have. And I say that in jest because you know what our response level has been. They have literally heard nothing from the state since they submitted the application. At least we've gotten some nasty things back, but it sounds to me, and then in the conversation, there was I actually thought it was a good conversation in finance. I'm going to reach out to that superintendent tomorrow. Maybe the two of us will put some letters together and maybe use our attorneys to put some letters together to get the ball rolling. I know Mr. Ackman had a couple of good ideas. Everybody seemed to have a good idea with that. We'll get on that tomorrow. So reaching out to him.
Business. New business? I wanted to ask about the 23-24 calendar. Are we going to do that in curriculum?
We'll do that in
we haven't
curriculum.
fixed that yet?
Good question. We will do that in curriculum. We finished it up maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. Sent it out to the association for their perusal of it. I did get some feedback just this week. So we should, for the curriculum meeting, which is next week, should be able to give everybody a draft copy.
Any other new business? Right. Okay. Public participation, number 2. All right. Guess we're going to executive session. Motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion to go into executive session, to discuss HIB and litigation. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene a public session at the conclusion of the closed session, hopefully 15 minutes. All right. All right, motion to approve the December 22 HIB findings, 2 with incident, and the January 23 HIB findings, 3 with incident and 2 without, as presented to the superintendent. Motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstention? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.